Okay, so today's one's about why a street fighter won't win against an MMA fighter in a cage, okay? So you get the odd street fighter that takes on these MMA fighters in the cage, and they tend to always lose, pretty much always lose, and I'll tell you why, okay? So you've got a street fighter that say has, let's just say, 2 fights a week, okay? And usually a street fight doesn't last any longer than 2 minutes, okay? But let's just say, call it 2.5 minutes, 2 times a week. That's 5 minutes worth of fighting a week, okay? So you've got 5 minutes over here, street fighting, and now let's compare the average MMA fighter. Okay, just a newbie, not like pro UFC fighter, just MMA fighter. Okay, just let this car in there. Come on, right? Yeah, sorry about that. So just letting some numpty in. So you've got the street fighter 5 minutes. MMA fighter usually trains around 3 to 5 times a week, and each session is an hour and a half usually, okay? And usually they say let's just say they spend half of that hard sparring, okay? Which hard sparring isn't quite the same as the real deal, but it's as close as you'll get it, okay? So let's see, you got 5 minutes street fighter, and then the MMA fighter, let's say they do 3 sessions a week, and each session they spend 45 minutes hard sparring. So you've got 45 minutes times 3, okay? So we call that 2 hours and a quarter, so that's 135 minutes of hard sparring, and then they've got another 135 minutes just training, okay? Technique and everything else, okay? Everything else but hard sparring, alright? So 135 minutes, and they're being coached by good coaches, okay? Telling them what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong, things like that. The cage is more in their sort of comfort zone, okay? So there's a big difference in practice, okay? Like 135 minutes versus 5 minutes. It's a big difference in practice. I know it's not quite the same, but then you've got another 135 minutes worth of training as well on top of that. I've got 2 brothers. One of my brothers 2 years older than me, and he had a mate in his year, and he was like, one of those really good street fighters, wasn't afraid of anybody or anything, and he worked at this bar, okay, that had a cage fighting. So they had the cage fights in this big pub, okay, like / club place, and he worked in there. And he took on one of these MMA fighters. Had a go at one of these MMA fights, and he lost. And he's like a really good street fighter. He's like my brother's bodyguard, if you like. So my brother's quite small, and he was like quite big, and I think there's only one guy who could have him in the year. So he's really good, but he lost against his MMA fighter. But it just comes down to the amount of practice that's involved, okay? 135 minutes of hard sparring, that's a lot of fighting practice, isn't it? Versus, let's just say 2 fights a week at 2 minutes each, 4 or 5 minutes. It's a big difference in practice. And also you've got being out on the street fighting and fighting in the cage, it's totally different, okay? obviously in the cage you've got rules. Out on the street you haven't. So the street fighter's more comfortable out on the street versus the MMA fighters used to being in the cage as well. Okay, kind of his comfort zone, you know. You could say MMA fighters won't be as comfortable out on the street. Yeah, totally get it. And there's no rules, things like that. But a lot of it comes down to practice. Okay, a lot more practice. Like, who do you know that's a street fighter and has as much practice hard sparring as the average MMA fighter, like 135 minutes worth of hard sparring? Who do you know? You know, see what I mean? So and it's MMA as well, so you're doing, you know, mixed martial arts, and obviously you're usually implementing the best martial arts there are to win the fight. Okay, so you're not doing, like, you know, rubbish like Aikido, they call Bullshido, you know, they're doing good arts. But yeah, that's basically it, right? So yeah, this is just a video on why you won't win against an MMA fighter, so don't even bother trying, guys, okay? Unless you're a bit crazy and want it to do it for the experience. Alright, but yeah, thanks for watching. If you like the video, click the thumbs up. If you don't worry about it. If you want to subscribe, click that bell notification, then you get notified when new videos pop up. Okay, thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll look forward to the next one. Peace.